Hey guys, Coach Andrew coming at you from the basement studio gym office. And we have a question from one of our friends on Instagram today. Now the question is, Andrew, can I start a business if I'm in debt? Should I start a business if I'm in debt? Right? Is this smart? Well, my friend, that's a complex question with a couple different simple answers. And I'm going to give you the simplest answer possible. Because ultimately, this decision is going to come down to one thing, and that one thing is fear. Starting a business or doing anything that involves that kind of risk, right, is going to involve fear. Doing difficult things is scary. If you're trying to start a business and you're in debt, you are already lacking money, and generally a business startup requires more money, which could potentially take you further into debt, and there's absolutely no guarantee that you're going to get results. There's no guarantee you're going to make any income, and that's scary. So if you want to learn more about my take on fear and what I think you should do in the face of fear, how to get more comfortable doing difficult things, how to take risks, there are tons of videos in the Coach Andrew Talks playlist on my channel. You can find all kinds of videos in there about fear, overcoming difficult obstacles, motivation, willpower, things of that nature. I recommend you go watch some of those if you feel like you're struggling with the emotional aspect of starting a business because you're scared. However, I am going to answer your question. And, surprisingly enough, some of the clients, in fact, up to this point, I don't have an exact number, but I would say probably 10 to 15% of the business coaching clients who have hired me are people who have had significant debt. I've had veterans hire me who have over $50,000 in medical bills. I've had students hire me who have $60,000, $70,000 in student loan debt. I had one guy hire me who just had $40,000 in combined credit card and medical bill debt. And, debt like that is soul crushing. Yeah, at one point in my journey, when I was trying to build my business, I was about $16,000 in debt. And that was mostly credit card, probably like 75% credit card debt, and 25% was like cell phone bills and car payments. And I consider myself to be very fortunate. I know that the worst that could happen to me, the worst that ever could have happened to me, was I would have had to move out of this house. I could move into my in-laws' basement or my parents' basement. Like I knew that if I ever messed up so bad that we completely ran out of money and the debt collectors were knocking on our door, my family would be there and they would make sure that we had a place to stay. Like I knew that that was the worst case scenario. And of course, you don't want that to happen. You don't plan on that happening, and you're going to do everything you can to keep that from happening. But I knew that there was always a plan Y, a plan Z, and I didn't have to worry. All I had to worry about was the plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and just go down the list until something worked. So first thing I want to say to you, my friend, is acknowledge and understand the risk and use that risk to figure out what the worst case scenario is, okay? So there is a worst case scenario, and you've got to calculate and figure out exactly what that is. If this goes as wrong as it possibly can, what would happen to me, my family, and my children, okay? Because if you're by yourself, this isn't that hard, okay? This is a good situation for you. But if you have a wife and you have kids, things are a little more complicated. And I had a wife and a newborn baby when I was in debt. So things were very real for me. And you just have to acknowledge the worst case scenario, come face to face with it and be like, okay, if this happens, and I will find a way to recover from this. And if you can say that, and you can be okay with the worst case scenario, then you can move on, okay? Because if you don't come to terms with the worst case scenario, that fear is going to be nagging at you in the back of your brain the entire time you're doing this. And that's going to affect your clarity. It's going to affect your motivation. It's going to give you anxiety. You have to face that and accept it. But you've done that. That's like the most basic starting point for your mindset component of this journey you're about to begin. And the second question is like technicals, right? So you need to ask yourself, what kind of business am I starting? Okay, what kind of business am I starting? So I help online coaches, consultants, and service professionals start 100% online businesses. Okay, so people like life coaches, relationship coaches, personal trainers, fitness coaches, nutrition coaches. I help people who are like marketing consultants, sales consultants, interior designers, anyone who consults or gives advice. And I also help service professionals. So I have helped real estate agents start their marketing funnels, build authority websites, people like that. So the great thing about those three types of businesses, coaching, consulting, and service, is that they have relatively low startup costs. If you are looking to make your business 100% online, the startup costs are very low. Some of the service professionals I've worked with have, a large in-person component. Some personal trainers own studios. The real estate agent obviously has an in-person component to their business, but they wanted to do all of their sales and marketing online. So ask yourself, does my business have an in-person component? And if it does, how much capital, how much money am I going to need to start up that in-person component? Because the online component of your business is going to be very affordable. Okay? My clients, I tell all of them to go with ClickFunnels, which is it's a software that allows you to build web pages, and it specializes in landing pages, sales pages, webinars, membership sites, and you can also use it to build really beautiful home pages. If you go to andrewwuellner.com, links in the description, that is a home website built on ClickFunnels. And all of the sales pages, everything that I have is built on ClickFunnels. So I tell my clients to use that, and the starting plan that I recommend is $97 a month. So you need $97 a month for ClickFunnels. And then depending upon what your business is, you may need some other software, you may need some apps, you may need, you might need to buy some office supplies. Maybe you need to buy a computer or a printer, but all things considered, an online business has a relatively low startup cost. I started my online business with, one of the first things I did was I hired a mentor, and that was $5,000. And then I bought my website. I spent like maybe $6,000 or $7,000 the first year, which is pretty doable if you just save a little bit. But another thing you can do that a lot of brand new entrepreneurs overlook is they don't get their business set up legally first. So the first thing that I recommend you do is you go to Swift Filings or LegalZoom. You get your LLC, banking resolution, operating agreement. You get all that stuff put together. You open a bank account, and then you get a business credit card. So you basically tell the bank how much money you're anticipating to make. They give you a line of credit. And then you can use that line of credit to get all this stuff to start. Now, of course, the caveat is using a business credit card will accumulate more debt for your company, but it can help you get things in place if you don't have cash on hand. And a lot of people who are starting a business are doing it from a place of, kind of desperation, right? Maybe like you are. And they just want to get things moving. And if they have a plan, if they have a mentor, they can start making money very quickly. My quickest client to date was a personal trainer, and he switched from personal training. He wanted to switch into business consulting. So he wanted to build websites for Instagram influencers. And he made his first $3,000 sale in like 6 days. 6 days. And 2 of those days, I don't even think he did anything in between. So it's really not that hard. You just need a system, and you need to have the tools in place. So, that's really it, my friend. If you can confront what the worst case scenario is and make peace with it, and then figure out what kind of business you're in, how much money you need to start, and then make sure you have enough money or credit set aside to keep your personal life afloat, right? So if your rent is $1,000, and if you spend another $1,000 on bills and groceries each month, you need $2,000 a month to keep surviving. So I would recommend having 6 months, which would be $12,000 set aside, to give your business 6 months to get a foothold. And then you're going to need a little bit of money to start the business. Figure out how much that is. So you have debt. You got to figure out, you got to factor in your debt payments into your monthly costs, right? And I think your question is probably more adequately phrased. Is it okay if I go further into debt to start my business? Now, my soul wants to tell you yes, because if you don't give up, and if you network, if you find a mentor, if you find a coach, if you buy courses, you learn, you educate yourself, right? You constantly pursue what you want, you will get it. Like you will get it in time. And going into debt to get there quicker is the ideal solution. Getting there as fast as possible is the ideal solution for anyone. I think the ultimate factor for any kind of question like this is, what is my dream life? What is my ideal life? And what do I have to do to get there as quick as possible? And a lot of people are just controlled by fear, and they're not willing to take risks like that. They'll stay at their day job that they hate for years and years and years, and they'll keep saving up money, and they'll never feel like they're ready. And before they know it, they're blowing out candles on their 35th birthday cake, and they have a midlife crisis because they realize that they haven't done anything that they wanted, and they're nowhere near their goals. And at that point, it becomes very difficult to rectify the amount of time you've wasted. You know, even if you do choose to finally start your business, you have to sit there and every night lay in bed and think, wow, what did I do with the first 35 years of my life? And that can break a person, you know. When you're almost halfway through your life or past halfway through your life and you haven't done the things that you truly wanted to do, some people just give up when they get old. You know, they're like, well, I played the game and I lost. I guess I'll just wait till it's over. And I don't want that to be you, my friend. So sometimes the best thing you can do is put yourself in the flames, right? Put yourself to the test, put some heat on things, and see what you're made of. And that's kind of what I did. That's kind of what I did when I quit my job and started my company, went into debt, had kids. I was like, you know, I got to see what I'm made of. I got to dig down and actually make this happen. Because if I don't, there are very real consequences. And it worked. It was very uncomfortable, lots of anxiety, but you'll find out who you are. It's a good way to test yourself and really see what you're made of. But you have to go in with eyes wide open. So what's your worst case scenario, right? Accept it. What kind of business are you starting? How much capital do you need? And how quickly do you want to get to your dream life? What's your dream life and how quickly do you want to get there? Is going into debt, starting this business right now, going further into debt, is that the quickest way to get to your dream life? And if it is, then go for it, brother. Hope this video helped. If you guys have more questions for me, you can submit them to the Ask Coach Andrew series. I have an email in the description. You can send them there, or you can just leave them in the comments. I will film a video and answer your questions about fitness, business, self-development, mindset, productivity, relationships, anything you want, because I'm obsessed with self-development. You can also check out my website, andrewwuellner.com. You can see what ClickFunnels does, because the whole thing's built on ClickFunnels, and you can also learn more about me and what I do, what kinds of products and services I offer. And as always, we'll talk to you in the next video. Take care, guys.